In order for things to change, you have to change how you receive information, right? If you want things to truly change, we have to change information. We have to change how we receive it. What does this mean, right? We've made moves up to this point. You think the way you do for a reason, right? You was born in a certain environment. You have certain conversations, right? You have ways of being. Now, these ways of being create what's called conclusions, right? Now, you can call it whatever you want to call it. Conclusion is, it is what it is. It is what it is, right? That's the mind. It is what it is. I already know. And as soon as the mind says, I already know, what happens? That part of the brain shuts down. I already know. So people are going into situations saying, I already know. Psychologically, right? Follow this process. Follow this process. So I'm going into situations assuming that I know about life, about the world, about everything around me. I assume I know. So because I say I know, that part of the brain shuts down. There's conclusions, right? Oh, I know how this works. I know how that works. I know this. I know what happens when you do this. I know this. And a lot of those things that you say you know, you've confused illusion with truth. Meaning, right? There's things about your life that you don't understand. A lot of your fears have become absolutes. A lot of your fears have become truths, right? So in your mind, you don't even think about that part. That part of the brain is off. That part of the brain is shut down. It's like, I don't even think about doing that because that part is just not there. It's not turned on, right? I'm not interested. So I already know. I live in conclusions, right? Now my fears become my truths. My fear is true. My fear becomes actuality, right? When fear is not actuality, fear is an illusion. Fear is an imagination. Fear stall the future. Fear is in the mind, right? It's not real. It's not actual. But we confuse it, right? We confuse it. We say, okay, it is actual. It's truth. So in order for us to see, what do we have to do? We have to break these conclusions, right? We have to see the world without definition. Okay, this is good, fam. Listen, I hope you're listening. We're going to get into it. Let me know who's on here. Give me some heart emojis if you're on here. I got to take this sip. We're going to get into it. We must see the world without definition. Is it possible to see the world and see your situation without conclusion? Is it possible to see your situation without definition, right? See your situation without this idea that you already know. See your mentality without saying, yo, I know this. I know. See, the problem is when you assume you already know, life becomes predetermined. When you assume you already know, life becomes predetermined. Think about what I'm saying. Is it actual predetermined? No. But because I say I know, this part of the brains I don't question. This part of the brains that I don't have interest in. This part of the brain, I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to dive into that because I know, right? I'm not good enough. I know I can't do it. I know it's not for me. I know things like that are not. It's like, wait a minute, but where did that come from? Right? Do you actually know, or have your fears become truth? And if your fear becomes truth, then you would convince yourself that you would say, oh, I know. I know I can't do this. I know I'm not good enough for that. I've already accepted that. So now life becomes a predetermined way of being, right? Think about it. I go into every situation assuming I know what's going to happen. So therefore, I allow things to continue. I allow things to be. This is just how I am and how I do things. I'm unwilling to challenge myself. Can you challenge yourself? Is it possible to see things without definition? To see things without label? To see things without a conclusion? Can you see things for what it actually is, not what you wish it was? This is what this means. Because now for things to change, you got to break how you view it, right? You have to break to see that this is where growth comes in. You view a situation, if you're viewing a situation, okay, this is where growth comes in. Because what I'm saying is different than how you're receiving it, right? Because you're receiving something based on your perception and how you view yourself and how you view the world. So there's two different informations going on here. I'm saying this with my intention, with the words that are coming out my mouth, the way it's going, and you're listening the way you're listening. There's a difference, right? There's a strong possibility that there's a difference, that you are receiving the information differently than what I'm actually saying. Why is that? Because you're receiving things from your conditioning. And if you're viewing the world through the eyes of how you listen and your labels and your conclusions, and part of your brain is shut down because you're not interested, then you're only going to hear what you want to hear, not what is actually being said. You with me? You're going to hear what you want to hear, not what's actually being said. And for many people, what they want to hear isn't true. For many people, what they want to hear is what they believe to be true. They want reassuring truths. They live in assumptions and judgments. No, they listen. Some part of the brain is like, yo, look, I'm not interested in that. So they're actually moving the information away before it penetrates their mind, right? It's like, okay, I say this, but then it's like, let me move it out the way. I like that. I like that because I read that in a book and that made me feel good one day. Oh, yeah, that's true. People are listening and they're altering what they listen to based on who they are, right? Based on their priorities, based on what they care about. So in order to actually understand, in order to actually grow, you must put an end to what you hold on to, right? You must be willing to challenge your conclusions, your beliefs, your mentality, your philosophy. You must be willing to challenge these things. Because how can you see something different? Or how can you see what is if you're focused on what you wish it was? How can you see what is if you're not listening and you're not paying attention? How? How can you see it? How can you understand it? You can't, right? Because again, I live life assuming, no, I already know. I know what's going on. I know the situation. I know the truth or whatever, right? I believe this. That's it. There's no one who's compromising my beliefs because this is what it is. This is what I was born into. Yet, if you look at your life, you wonder why you're confused. You're lost, right? You wonder why you're living in psychological division, meaning you're being pulled in multiple directions all at the same time. Oh, I want this, but this. Psychologically seeing things from your own small perspective. Do you know how small people's minds are? Not small as in think big, or you can do more, or you can do this. No, small as in how narrow people's minds are. Why is that? Not that because they don't have an open mind, not because of any of that. No, how narrow their thinking is. Because they already assume they know. I know this path. I know this. I am narrow in my way of thinking. So I solve problems with this narrow mentality. I look at my problems and my situation and I look at the world through the eyes of these small little lens, thinking my way is the way. My way is right. My way is correct. But you're not seeing things for what it actually is a lot of times when it's that narrow, right? Because you got to break these walls in order to see what is. You got to be willing to challenge the foundation of your mind. But how do you do that, right? How is that even possible if you're not interested? How is it possible? How is it possible if you are not curious? Because curiosity keeps that alertness. Curiosity keeps that alive. Curiosity says, I know nothing, and jumps into every conversation, every situation, jumps on this live saying, I know nothing. Let me listen. I know nothing. Let me listen. It's a different way of doing things, right? It's a way to That's how you look to understand. You don't jump into something and say, no, that's not true because here's what's going on. The way I grew up. It's like, okay, hold on. Are you actually listening to what is being said? Or are you taking what is being said and altering it to fit within your narrative, to fit within your narrow mind, right? To fit within that narrow mind. And this is not narrow-minded. I don't want to confuse what I'm saying here. I'm not saying the closed-minded, narrow-minded people who only, no. I'm literally saying there's walls. There's walls. People have these barriers, these boundaries they create psychologically. People create psychological boundaries, which blocks them from ever understanding what is true. Because the psychological boundaries you created, you use it to protect yourself. No, I don't want to see anything outside of what I'm talking about or what I'm thinking. Because if I do, then it destroys my current position in life. The way I see things, my environment, my situation, getting rid of the known, right? But again, like we said, here in the comments it says, it's not possible if you're not interested, if you're not curious, right? How can you? How can you see things from a totally different, I don't want to say different perspective. How can you see things for what it actually is? If you're so interested in seeing the world how you wish it was. You see the world based on what you see the world based on what you hope it to be, how you respond to things, how you see things. I want to alter the world so I can see things how I wish it was. But that's not based on truth, right? It's not based on truth. But how can you know or understand what is true if you're not interested? I don't want to know what is true. I want to know what I believe in is true. So I live my life looking for signs, reassuring facts, right? I look at it, oh, no, that was because of this, because based on how I believe it, this is what happened. Oh, this is how my fears become true, so this is how I'm going to live my life, right? I'm going to live my life based on what I wish it was, what I hope it to be, what I believe to be true. So now I'm maneuvering through life, not having certain conversations I need to have, not questioning my environment, not questioning myself, not challenging myself. Why? Because that part of the brain is off. You guys feeling this? Give me some fire emojis, fam. Give me some fire emojis if you are on here loving this live right now as we speak. Confirmation bias, looking for what we already believe to be true. Fact, the acceptance of reality, letting ourselves grieve the life wanted, but ultimately it's just an illusion. There's a difference between reality and truth, right? There's a difference between reality and actuality. The difference between reality and actuality is that reality is our perception of what is. Reality is based off of what we wish it was, what we hope it to be, what we're unwilling to question, right? I've accepted things about my life. This is my reality. This is your reality. This is my reality. We all have different realities based on who we are, how we grew up, how we respond to information, how we address what is, how we view ourselves, the world. Reality is different. Actuality, what is what is. And the greatest task in life is to see what is. There's things that are truth. You do this, this happens. Truth, right? Regardless of how you see it, this will always happen. So we got to understand that. We got to see that. Okay, this is what is. Now we have to see the difference between what I wish it was, what I hope it to be, versus what is. But how can I see what is if I'm not interested in what is? How can I see what is if I'm not interested? I live my life, I live through this world through the eyes of a mind that already assumes so many assumptions. This is what's going to happen. This is why people don't text me back. This is why people don't call me back. This is why people, people who wear this type of clothes, this is what they do for a living. This is when they drive this car, this is what they do. Again, assumptions. I assume I know. Oh, nobody's going to be interested in this. Nobody's going to interest that, things where your fears become truths. But when it's not true, fear is an illusion. It's what you think is true, right? But you're seeing the world through the eyes you're seeing the world through the eyes of the foundation of your mind. My question is, why do you want it to be the way you want it to be? Think about it. Why do you want it to be this way? Think about how many people are unwilling to challenge their ways of being. Think about it. Think about how many people are unwilling to challenge their outlook on life. Think about how many people are unwilling to challenge the environment they're in. Think about how many people are unwilling to challenge the partner that they've been building a life with for the last 5 to 10 years. Think about how they're unwilling to challenge those they call best friends. Think about how they're unwilling to challenge the environment, the lifestyle, the job they work, everything. Why am I unwilling to question my beliefs? Why do I not want to see things from another perspective? Why do I protect myself? Why do we live life protecting ourselves psychologically, setting up psychological boundaries? What does this mean? Why are we existing saying, I don't want to see this, I don't want to hear that, I don't want to hear this, I don't want to hear that? Why? Nope, that's not true, Anthony, because it's like this. But why do you want it to be that way? I'm interested. Like, why do you want it to be like that? No, because this is what this is. Da, 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 da. Fear of changing the known. Fear of changing the known. See that? That little shift that we talked about this past week or this past week and a half. And those of you on my awareness journal, you know I talk about this all the time. If you haven't signed up to that, the link is in my bio. I fear changing the known or the ending of it. So because of that, I create all these psychological boundaries. Nope, this is how it is. This is what I do. Life is almost like it's predetermined. Not really, because you can't control me. I can't control you, right? You can't control others around you. However, you look to manipulate the situation. Okay, cool. Because I have certain outlooks on life. Anything that happens, you look to fit it within your outlook on life. That means it really doesn't matter what happens. The facts are never clear, even if the facts is in your face. The facts are never clear, even if the facts are in your face. Why is it never clear? Because I'm altering what I see based on the foundation of my mind. I've just accepted. I live in conclusion. It is what it is. My fears are actual truths. I don't want to change the known. And the known can be anything, everything that has to do with what I'm comfortable with. Psychologically, physically, emotionally. This is just how I'm able to respond to things. I'm comfortable this way. Why do I want to alter what I see? The facts are never clear to a mind that's not interested. Facts is right in front of your face. You're like, I literally alter what I see. No, it was because of this that happened. And then you wonder why you're still lost and confused. Then you look at life, you're like, why am I so lost and confused? Why do I not understand? Why do I still don't understand? I don't understand. Yeah, I can hear these words and I can hear them. How come I don't understand? Something's off. But then you still hold on to what you believe, your philosophy, your environment. You never question the things that and I go like this, like you shut down. You shut down when you assume you already know. Imagine years and years and years and years and years assuming you already know the way life is. How do you see things from a totally different perspective? No matter what happens, one will always still look like the facts is in your face. You do something, you see the result. You live your life, you make moves, you see the result. It's right in front of your face, and then yet we still won't question. No. Why are you getting the same? Why you continue to repeat the same mistakes? Why is it called mistakes and not, hey, this is just a result of my mentality. I keep getting the same result. This is what keeps repeating itself. But I'm altering what I see to fit a narrative that I want to be. I'm altering what I see to fit a narrative that I want to be. Bars. Come on, those are bars right there. Fit a narrative. It's just stupid. It's funny. Right. The results of my mentality. I'm getting the results of my mentality. Right? Yet I'm not questioning my mentality. So now there's almost nothing I can do. There's almost nothing I can do because I'm not interested. Because I keep getting the same results over and over and over again. Right? I keep getting the same results. I keep psychologically putting up these boundaries. I'm not really interested. I only fit within this narrow mind. So now in order to see things, I must break away. I must break those boundaries. Anthony, what are you talking about? Break those boundaries. What do you mean? Those boundaries are the things that's keeping me alive. Those boundaries are the things that give me hope. Those boundaries are the things that give me feel good. It makes me feel good. Anthony, they make me feel good. My ways of being, my protection that I put myself, these narrow walls, these invisible walls, make me feel good. We must see things without the definition. We must see things without the conclusion. We must see things without the boundary. There shouldn't be boundaries. Psychologically. There shouldn't. Why? Because you're not allowing yourself to see what is. You're not being vulnerable and sensitive to life. Can we pay attention? We're using these words to explain what's happening psychologically. We're not allowing ourselves to be sensitive to life. Meaning, and okay, again, remember, like I said earlier, there's a difference between what I say and how you receive it. So check this. There can be a strong possibility in how you're receiving things based on the foundation of your mind, of course, right? So you're hearing totally different information. So when you hear, allow yourself to be vulnerable, allow yourself to be, you're thinking other shit. Oh, well, but vulnerability is weakness, or no. Psychologically, let's look at psychologically. I must break my psychological boundaries and see things for what it actually is without seeing things with definition, without seeing things with conclusion, without seeing things with saying, I already know. I jump into every situation, every conversation. I don't know, with the mentality of I don't know. So I'm observing. Do you guys get this? I'm observing this. I'm observing. I don't know. There's no psychological boundary. Something happens in your life. It's not, oh, it was because of this. No. Why did it happen? Why? Right? That's the only way. Again, curiosity is the only way. Curiosity is the only thing that keeps the mind alive. Questioning is the only thing that keeps the mind alive. Asking why, having doubt. Again, I say these words, I don't even want to play with it because I don't even want to say these words because then people doubt, but I believe in myself. No. We're not talking about that. We're talking about psychologically when you see things, assuming that you already know. Assuming that, oh, it is what it is. This is my life. This is the conclusion of my life. But can we observe without any form of definition, boundaries, labels? Can we see things for what it actually is? Because in order to see the facts, we must be curious, right? Can we see ourselves for who we actually are? Again, if I say see ourselves, even saying those words, it's like, again, we're limited by language. Because even as I say, oh, can we see ourselves for who we actually are? People receive it and say, yes, I love pizza. I am this person. I am a Puerto Rican Dominican from the Bronx. I am this. All these labels that we associate with. No. Because when you start to see what I'm saying, you will not associate yourself with these things, right? Because that's not you. What's you, I say, see yourself for who you actually are as a human being. Can you see yourself as a human being, who you actually are? How I am you and you are me. Do we see this? Because if you can see yourself, that I am you, you are me, that you're no different from me, that you can literally do whatever you set your mind to, because the same mind that's created everything that you see that's available to you now, the same mind that created all of this technology, the same mind that's created all of these illusions that people bought into, the same mind that's created the television screen, the cell phone, right? The same mind that created that is the same mind that you have, the same mind that has the same abilities. So you can see things, you can make things happen, because that's just the mind. The mind has all these possibilities of what it could do. The mind's so powerful. We can see things, create things, and invent things with thoughts alone. We can destroy things with thoughts alone. I don't like it is what it is. No, it should be it is what you let it be. It is what you make it. Okay? I don't think we should look at things from it should be. Okay? Like when we say it should be, but why it should be? Whose standards on what? It should be like this. Well, but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. And when we talk about people view things and they say it is what it is, right? It is, they view things and they say, this is just my life. This is just what it is. This is just an unfortunate situation in my life. But again, they're viewing things through the eyes of the foundation of their mind. They've already accepted certain things that they don't even question. There is a lot of nuance to things, especially interpretation. Find balance in words versus looking for extremes. Same goes for how those words and thoughts apply to life. Exactly. When it comes to words, look, we're so blinded. You hear me? Blinded by sounds. I wanted to say blinded and sounds at the same time. Blinded. We're blinded by sounds and definition. So when we hear things, automatically, again, we assume we know. So that's why even communicating, being so limited with communication, it's like, oh man, I say these words, not having psychological boundaries or curiosity, doubt, observe, all these things. People are like, wait, what? Like it's just, it's confusing to people because of the word, how limited we are for words, right? So that's why you got to break down. No, here's what I mean. Here's what I'm saying. Here's the process of it. Can you see it? Is it possible for you to listen to what is being said exactly how I mean to say it? Is it possible? Is it possible or you're so conditioned that it's impossible for you to see? Is that real? Is that real? Can one be so conditioned, so attached to words, labels, and so attached to their outlook on life, so attached to how they see things that they can't even listen? My sound went out for a little bit. I don't know if you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, because my sound went out for a little bit. Is it possible for someone to be so psychologically conditioned that they're just too far gone, they're too far gone to ever come back? Thank you. Is it possible that someone says, you know what, I'm so non-interested, like I don't even care, like I'm so uninterested, I can't even comprehend. I don't even want to comprehend. I'm not interested. Is that possible for a mind to be so uninterested that it's like it becomes lazy in its thinking, right? That they can't understand what is exactly being said the way it was intended to be said, because I observe things with a heavily conditioned mind. So again, going back to the very beginning, in order for things to change, we must view things from a totally different perspective. We can't see things how we wish it was, right? And I say we can't, again, using these words in a way as, in order to see what is true, then we can't do that. Because if you want to see what is true, then you can't see things based on what you wish it was and what you hope it to be. Give me some fire emojis, fam, if you found this live valuable. Let me see who's on here. Give me some fire emojis, fam. Give me some fire emojis in the comments below. If you haven't done so, sign up for my awareness journal. Read last night's entry that I put in. Those of you who are on here, who are on the awareness journal, the daily awareness journal, link is in my bio if you're not. But those of you who are on here, go read that. Go check that out. I talk about truth, right? I say, okay, why we're not so interested in truth. You know me, I can dive into it. I can talk another 3 hours on this topic. But go check that out. Link is in my bio. When will this be uploaded onto YouTube? I would do it right now. I would do it after this. I would do it after this, in the next 2 hours. Probably like 5-6 hours, but who's counting? Hey, I appreciate the badge. It means a lot to me, man. I really appreciate the badge. And I say that because think about it. Someone in their mind has said, listen, this content is so valuable, or I'm getting so much value from this. I appreciate this. I'm going to give my hard-earned money, something that I work for, something that I bust my ass for. I'm going to give it to this human being who's providing value. So for that, I'm forever grateful. Please and thank you. I appreciate you, bro, taking the time out of the morning for this live. I needed this. I need to hear this. I love that. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you for hopping on and betting on yourself. Seriously. And even listening through the whole way. Like listening from the start to the finish. Like you're like, oh shit, you getting punched in the face with the facts. Yo, fam, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. You have an amazing day. Link is in my bio. Sign up to my awareness journal. Only $5 a month. Sign up for that. Also, be on the lookout for the replay of this YouTube video. Take care, fam. Peace.